The next morning, you met Daniel at the breakfast table. Yesterday night was like a nightmare. He didn't say much to you, nor did he hurt you, but it's always the silence before something terrible happens. He sat across from you, angrily tapping his fingers on the table, barely touching his food. You could feel the storm brewing, the rage just beneath the surface. Why aren't you saying anything? Or is your mind still on Jungkook? Maybe he's on your mind more than your own husband. He broke the silence, glaring at you. You looked up from your plate, your heart was heavy. You cannot believe this man never leaves a chance to accuse you for anything. Don't bring him into this. He didn't do anything wrong. Daniel's face twisted with anger as he looked at you, clenching his jaws. You think you can talk back to me now? Just because you met him yesterday, you suddenly have the guts to stand up to me? You took a deep breath, steadying yourself before speaking. I'm not talking back. I'm just telling you the truth. You are the one making things worse, not him. His eyes darkened and you could see his knuckles turning white as he gripped the edge of the table. So now I'm the problem, huh? Ever since you met him again, you have been acting different, like you have forgotten who's in control here. This time you completely lost your patience. Yesterday, the way he humiliated you in front of Jungkook, the way he made you feel like you were the most helpless and pathetic woman, you decided you wouldn't let him belittle you anywhere. You'll take a stand for yourself. I haven't forgotten anything, but I won't let you keep treating me like this. Your voice was slightly shaking, but you tried to stay strong. Daniel slammed his fist on the table, causing the plates to rattle. You think you can speak to me like that? After everything I have done for you, you're mine and you'll act like it. His words hit you like a slap, but this time you didn't look away. You stood your ground even though fear curled into your chest. You don't own me. I'm your wife, not your property. You said, looking in his eyes. That was the breaking point. Daniel shot up from his seat, marching over to where you were sitting, and before you could react, he grabbed your arm, yanking you up roughly. You're going to regret this. He hissed through clenched teeth, tightening his grip painfully. Daniel, leave my arm. You're hurting me. You said, trying to pull free, but he only held on tighter. Maybe you need to be reminded of your place, thinking you can answer back now just because you saw him. What, you think you're brave now? Let go of me, you're wrong. This has nothing to do with him. This is about you always controlling me, always treating me like I'm nothing. You said, struggling to free yourself. Daniel's eyes flashed with fury as he pushed you back against the counter. I've given you everything, and this is how you repay me, by standing here defending him. You winced as your back hit the edge of the counter, but this time you didn't back down. You didn't give me everything, Daniel. You took away my freedom. You made me live in fear. For a moment, Daniel stood there, breathing heavily, his hand still gripping your arm. Then in a split second, he raised his hand and you braced yourself, knowing what was coming, but he didn't hit you, just jerked your arm harshly. You have no worth, okay? Be grateful, at least I'm letting you live this life. Saying that, he went outside, slamming the door with a loud thud, while you slowly sat on your knees and cried, hugging your arms. You found yourself standing outside Daniel's office. Your heart was pounding in your chest. You weren't sure why you decided to come here today. Maybe it was the argument at breakfast that left you feeling restless, or maybe you just wanted some kind of resolution, something that made sense in this mess of a life you were living. but what you saw when you pushed the door slightly open shattered everything inside you. Daniel, the man you had endured so much for, was with his secretary. They were locked in a heated embrace, completely unaware of your presence. His hands were all over her, the same hands that had left bruises on your skin. You stood frozen, the world around you fell apart. The betrayal, the pain, the anger, all of it swirled inside you like a storm. After all the abuse, after all the fear, this is what he was doing behind your back. Your heart broke into 1,000 pieces. You couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The sound of your heartbeat was deafening in your ears, drowning out everything else. Daniel looked up and saw you standing there. His face went pale. Why? He quickly pulled away from his secretary in a panic, but it was too late. You didn't need to hear anything more. You turned and walked away, your vision blurred with tears. Your chest tightened with the weight of everything you just had witnessed. Daniel went behind you. He was panicking, but you already ran outside. You don't want to listen to anything, don't want to see anything. You have had enough, and maybe this is the ending point where you need to take a stand for yourself. Leaving your car, everything, you just ran from there without caring about anything. You were in so much pain that you didn't even notice the traffic lights had turned green. You stepped into the street numb, not caring about the cars or the people yelling around you. You had been through so much, hurt, control, and now betrayed. Suddenly a loud screech filled the air. A car stopped just inches away from you. You stood there not moving, completely lost in your pain. The car door opened and you heard a voice calling your name. Ryan, are you okay? He quickly rushed towards you, worry written all over his face. He gently grabbed your arms, trying to shake you out of your daze. Look at me, are you hurt? You looked up at him and it was like everything inside you broke. The walls you had built around your heart was crashing down and tears started pouring from your eyes. You couldn't hold it anymore. You collapsed into his arms, sobbing. Jungkook got worried seeing such broken state of you. He was terrified. His mind started to fill with all the worst possibilities because after knowing what kind of man Daniel is, he can't trust him. Let's get out of here, he said, noticing the traffic and people waiting for both of you to move. Jungkook whispered softly, guiding you to his car. He opened the door for you and you sat inside, still crying. Your whole body was shaking from the emotions. You sat in Jungkook's car, completely lost in your own world of pain. Your hands were shaking as they rested on your lap, and your tears hadn't stopped flowing since you got inside. You tried to wipe them away, but it was useless. Everything was a mess. You were a mess. You didn't even know where to begin, how to explain. Jungkook washed you and his heart ached with every tear that fell from your eyes. He had never seen you like this, so broken, so fragile. It killed him inside. He gently placed his hand on your shoulder. His touch was soft, as if he was afraid you might shatter completely. Ryan, please tell me what happened. Please talk to me. His voice was filled with worry and tension, but you couldn't. The words were trapped in your throat, tangled with the sobs that you couldn't stop. You felt like if you tried to speak, the dam holding back your emotions would break completely, and you would drown in everything you have kept hidden for so long. His jaws were tightly clenched as he thought about Daniel. He was sure that man again hurt you. Did he hurt you? Did Daniel hurt you again? You shook your head, but the tears kept coming. You didn't know how to say it, didn't know how to explain what you had just seen in Daniel's office. The betrayal, the anger, the shame, it was all too much. Jungkook's grip on the steering wheel tightened. His knuckles turned white. I swear, if he laid a hand on you, I won't let him get away with it. Not this time. His voice was filled with barely controlled anger, but beneath that, there was something deeper, an overwhelming need to protect you. Please talk to me, let me help. At least don't hide anything now. Why did you even marry such a guy? You were not like this, Ryan. Why you let such a man come in your life and make it miserable? You looked at him, you wanted to tell him everything, how you were helpless in that situation. Taking a deep breath, you finally decided to tell him everything. You wanted to let this thing off your chest because now it was too heavy. You barely able to breathe. With trembling lips, you finally began to speak, your words coming out between sobs. I was 23, just 23 when my family forced me into this marriage. They thought they were doing what was best for me, giving me a stable life with someone like Daniel. You paused, wiping your eyes, but the tears wouldn't stop. At first, I tried. I tried so hard to make it work, to to love him. I thought maybe, just maybe I could learn to care for him. But every time I tried to get close to him, every time I thought I could take a step towards him, he turned into a monster. Your chest tightened as you recall the moment of fear, the bruises, the constant walking on eggshells. He would get angry, so angry over the smallest things, and then he'd hurt me, and I didn't know what to do. I kept telling myself it would get better. I wanted to believe he would change, but he never did. Jungkook's hand clenched into fist in his lap. He was silent, but you could see the anger shimmering just beneath the surface. Anger at Daniel, anger at your family, and maybe even anger at himself for not being there for you sooner. He kept saying I was his wife, that I should have just accept it. And I tried, I really tried, Jungkook. I thought that if I just loved him enough, he would stop hurting me. But it didn't matter. He just kept getting worse. And then today I saw him with his secretary. Your voice cracked, unable to finish the sentence. The image of Daniel and his secretary together was burned into your mind, and the pain of it was almost unbearable. Jungkook's jaw tightened. He was breathing heavily now, trying to keep himself calm, but you could see the storm of emotions brewing inside him. You never should have to go through this. You didn't deserve any of it. I can't believe He stopped, swelling hard as he fought to keep his own emotions in check. You should have been loved, protected, not this. You looked at him, your eyes filled with tears but also with a deep sadness that felt endless. I tried to be strong, Jungkook. I really did, but I couldn't anymore. I'm so tired. I'm tired of pretending, of hoping for something that will never happen. I just wanted someone to love me. Jungkook's eyes were filled with so much pain it almost broke you all over again. You deserve so much more than what he gave you. So much more. And I should have told you that. I should have been there for you before all of this. I'm so sorry. He made you look at him and gently held your hand. And the gentleness you felt in his touch was the same as you felt when you were together. As best friends. You dreamt of having a future with him, but it all crushed down within a few years. These 2 years with Daniel left you traumatized for a lifetime. Now you won't stay weak anymore. Remember the Ryan you were, the one who never let any guy look at you wrong. You'll give divorce to that bastard. He deserved to rot in hell. You looked at Jungkook, you could see the same love and care in his eyes for you. It's not that easy. Now I don't remember that Ryan anymore. She lost somewhere long ago. Tears were continuously falling from your eyes. I'm here to bring that Ryan back, my strong Ryan, who knows how to stand for herself, how to protect herself. Tears fall from your eyes as you looked at him. You wish you had that much courage that time. You wish you tell him that he used to be the guy you wanted in your life. But little did you know you would never win against your parents. Jungkook wiped your tears. You are doing this. I'm telling you to do this because he deserves to know his place. You had enough. Now I'm not going to let you go through that again. You just looked at him as tears fell down from your eyes. Daniel came near you as soon as he saw you entering inside the house. He was waiting for you as you didn't come back home after that. Ryan, whatever you saw there, I swear He stopped in the middle when you threw a file at the table in front of him. He looked at you confused and then at the papers. What are these? He said, picking up the file, and his eyes widened when he saw the divorce papers. He turned towards you, but today a different Ryan was standing in front of him, one who looks confident as ever. So you were doing all this, huh? He said, looking at you while you carry no emotions on your face. Sign these. He chuckled and then poked his cheek while looking at you with a smirk. You think you can just walk out like that? After everything? You met his gaze, unflinching. Yes, I can. I want this to end, Daniel. There's nothing left between us. He came near you as anger rushed inside him. You can't leave me. If you try, I'll make your life a living hell. I'll drag you down with me, ruin you. No one will believe you, and you know it. You straightened your posture and met his gaze. This time, there was no fear in your eyes. If you don't sign these papers, Daniel, I'll make sure you face the consequences of everything you have done. I can file dozens of complaints against you for abuse, emotional trauma, and infidelity. It will ruin your life, not mine. Daniel's face paled, and for the first time, you saw fear flicker in his eyes. He stared at you, realizing that you were serious. You wouldn't. Try me. I'm tired, Daniel. I'm done with all of this. So if you don't want to drag this out and create more problems for yourself, sign the papers, and this quietly. Daniel knew he had no option left. Not only he would lose his wealth but also his public image. He knew how you won't step back, and it was better for him to let you go. He reached for the pen with trembling hands and signed the divorce papers. This isn't over, he said, looking at you while you took the papers, your hand no longer shaking. Yes, it is. You walked away from there feeling lighter than you had in years. The weight of everything Daniel had put you through slowly began to lift piece by piece. It was over. Jungkook entered the cafe and his eyes searched for you desperately. He was so worried for you. The moment his eyes caught your sight, he quickly made his way towards you without thinking of anything. You were sitting at a corner booth, looking down and crying. Ryan, you lift up your face when he softly called your name. The broken sight of you made his heart ache, and he quickly pulled you into his arms. Don't cry. Now you don't need to bring a single tear in your eyes. He broke the hug and wiped your tears before making you look at him. I ended everything, Jungkook. I gave him the divorce. He nodded, feeling so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You did the best thing for yourself and now you're free. Now it's his time to feel the pain. Make him regret for whatever he did to you. I'm not going to do anything like that. Karma will get him. Jungkook looked at you confused and concerned. I don't understand why you didn't file any complaints against him. After everything he did to you, you could have made sure he paid for it. You looked down at your coffee cup, tracing the rim with your finger. I thought about it, but I'm just too tired, Jungkook. I don't want to keep dragging myself through all that pain anymore. I don't want to keep fighting him. I just want to move on. I want to live a free life, away from all the chaos. Jungkook's eyes softened as he watched you, his heart aching for you. He could see the exhaustion in your face, the years of suffering that had worn you down. But there was something else too, a quiet strength that hadn't been there before. You weren't giving up. You were choosing peace over vengeance. You deserve that. You deserve to be free, to live a life without all that pain hanging over you. You smiled weakly, finally allowing yourself to breathe. That's all I want. Jungkook was silent for a moment, his eyes studying you carefully. There was something he had been holding back for you for so long, something he needed to say but hadn't found the right moment until now. And he wanted to be that light for you in the darkness. Only he knows how much he loves you. Ryan, I've been waiting for the right time to tell you this, but there never seemed to be a perfect moment. But now I can't hold it in any longer. I need you to know how I feel. You blinked, caught off guard by the seriousness in his tone. Jungkook, you whispered, but he continued, his words spilling out like he had been holding them back for years. For as long as I remember, I've loved you. I loved you when I first met you, even when you didn't know. I loved you through all the pain you went through, even when I couldn't do anything to stop it. I love you now more than I've ever loved anyone in my life. His eyes searched yours. He knew you would be surprised. He knew you would think he's using this as an opportunity, but he doesn't care now. He will not leave you in pain anymore. I've watched you endure so much. I've seen you break, seen you try to hold yourself together when it felt like everything was falling apart. And all I ever wanted was to take that pain away to protect you, to be the one who could make things right for you. Your breath hissed and tears welled up in your eyes as his words sank in. You had always felt something for Jungkook, but with everything that had happened with Daniel, you had convinced yourself that you couldn't afford to think about it. But now hearing him say these words, something inside you broke free. I was afraid that if I told you how I felt, it would only make things harder for you. So I stayed quiet, kept my distance even though it killed me to see you suffer. But now that you're free, I can't hold back anymore. I need you to know that I have loved you for so long, and I'll love you for the rest of my life if you let me. Tears slipped down your cheeks and your heart swelled with an overwhelming mix of emotions. You wiped at your face trying to collect your thoughts, but the truth was, you had felt the same way about Jungkook for so long. You had just been too scared, too broken to admit it, even to yourself. Jungkook, I had feelings for you too, for a long time, but I thought it was wrong. I thought it wasn't fair to feel something for you while I was still stuck with Daniel. And then everything became so complicated. I was so lost. Jungkook gently held your hand and brushed your fingers with his own. You don't have to be lost anymore. You don't have to carry that weight alone. I'm here. I'm always been here. Waiting for you, loving you even when you didn't realize it. You looked into his eyes, seeing the sincerity, the love, the deep devotion he had for you. His words wrapped around your heart like a warm embrace, and for the first time in so long, you felt like you could breathe. I didn't think I deserved this. I didn't think I deserved to be loved after everything, after all the mistakes I made, after all the hurt I endured. Your tears were now falling freely. Jungkook's grip on your hand tightened. You deserve everything, every bit of happiness, every ounce of love, and I want to be the one to give it to you. I want to be the one who makes you feel safe, who makes you feel loved. I've waited for you all this time, and I'll wait as long as it takes for you to believe that. You couldn't hold back anymore. The walls you had built around your heart began to crumble, and in that moment, everything you had been holding in came flooding out, and you finally confessed to him.